have some news. Today I have 3 really big announcements for you guys as far as like the future of this channel, what you can expect from me, just like my author career / life in general. But obviously I have to start with the biggest one that most of you have probably already guessed at this point. We're expecting baby number 2. For anybody who doesn't know my story, we have a 2.5-year-old son and we really want him to have a sibling. But over the last a little over a year now, we've gone through 2 miscarriages. So it's been a rough year, to say the least. So I think it goes without saying that this baby is a huge miracle and a big blessing to us, and we are very, very thankful. And I just want to say that up front before I share about my experience so far, because it might sound like I was struggling, and I was, but that doesn't mean that I was not also, and am not also, very thankful. I think it's possible to be both. Big picture, I spent the first trimester very, very sick and very, very tired. It was a really massive difference between my first 3 pregnancies and this one. And some people were just like, well, that's what it's like when you have a toddler that you have to chase around and you're pregnant. It's just like tired upon tired. And other people were saying that it meant it was a girl. And I will be revealing that in this video, by the way. What I can say for sure is that if you're seeing this video now, it means I just came from a doctor's appointment, literally like probably an hour before this went live. And it was a positive appointment. Because otherwise I'm not sharing. As of recording, I'm 17 weeks pregnant and I definitely have a bump now and it's getting hard to hide. And for some reason, I am just way more self-conscious about that than I was with my first pregnancy. The first time I was just so excited and I wanted to be showing, and this time I just feel like I started showing very, very early on and it was very hard to hide. And maybe that comes with the first time around I didn't really want to hide it, and this time around we were obviously keeping it a bit closer after what we went through. But by the time you see this video, I will actually be almost 19 weeks. So basically right about at the halfway point already. I've had 2 ultrasounds already, like 6 doctor's appointments, or no, 7 by the time you're seeing this, because remember I have one coming up that's going to be right before this video goes live. I got my list right here. I've heard the heartbeat a few times and I've also felt little kicks already. So just feeling very, very hopeful and excited, and of course praying all the time for this little one. Now I have to admit something to you. I found out that I was pregnant before I was even 4 weeks along, very, very, very early. So I have known for a very, very long time and have had to keep this a secret, which I am so bad at. And there's been so many times that I was editing a YouTube video and I was like, that's my ultrasound picture in the background. I can't use that clip. It's just, or sharing my to-do list and there was something to do with baby on it and I had to just scrap that footage as well. So just FYI, it's been very hard to keep this from you, and I'm curious if some of you have guessed it from my total absence, just like completely going MIA the last few months. Because the thing is, unlike my other pregnancies, which all 3 of the other ones were very smooth, well, I'm pretty sure the first one was a little tough and I just have forgotten a lot, but the 2 that I miscarried were both very smooth and I didn't get sick and I kept most of my energy. But this time around it was like almost instant. I just got hit, like ran into a brick wall, and I was so sick and so incredibly tired. I've never been more tired in my life, not even when taking care of a newborn, okay? And again, I might be forgetting a little bit, but it felt really intense there. And so again, I just dropped off the face of the earth. But thankfully, right before all this happened, I announced that I was going to take a break, like a short break, because I had just finished up a successful Kickstarter in the middle of March and I was feeling very burnt out and I had been pushing past the miscarriages and I just really needed a break. I'd been pushing too hard. So I was like, I'm going to take a break for like 2 weeks. And then all the pregnancy symptoms started coming on and they just got bigger and bigger. And I just didn't come back for 3 months. Specifically weeks 5 through 12 were really, really rough. And even more so, like there was like a 5-week period somewhere in the middle there where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I literally couldn't get off the couch and I was struggling to take care of my son. I was like, there is absolutely no way that I am doing any work at all, ever again. And for those who don't know, the first trimester is, I think, through week 13, and that's typically the time when miscarriages are most likely to happen as well. So I was praying quite a bit during that time, and through being sick, trying to be grateful and just really in survival mode. I'm going to be really honest with you. I do not know how moms who are sick the whole 9 months survive, because I'm going to leave it at that, because I don't want to sound like I was complaining, but let's just say that as I moved into the second trimester, weeks 14, 15, 16, as things gradually started to get better over those probably 5 weeks-ish, it was very slow and gradual. I was just like, thank you, Jesus. I'm so grateful right now to feel like myself again, because there was a point, and I want to talk about this in this video in a minute, where I was just like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to work again. I know, dramatic, right? But anyway, we'll talk about that. To give you a picture of my day since I got pregnant up until now, I have been sleeping in as late as I possibly could until the second that my husband would go to work and he'd come wake me up with Zion. So there's no work happening in the morning, first of all. Then I take care of my son throughout the day, right? And I'm not going to be working when he's awake. I want to take care of him and be a good mom, even though there were, again, certain days, a good couple week stretch there where I could not get off the couch hardly ever. And it was a little bit scary, and I did have to call people for help and be like, I can't do this. I need somebody to come help me. Anyway, that was a no work zone as well. And my main work time up until this point had been during Zion's naps. So he would nap from about 1 to 3 p.m. and that was my work time. But for the first time in my life, I was napping almost every single day as well. I do not nap. This is not who I am. That alone, I feel like, was a dead giveaway to anybody who knows me. They're like, you're napping? Even with Zion, when I was pregnant with him, I probably napped 2 times ever in the entire pregnancy. I just could not function without a lot of extra sleep. And so I was pretty much putting him to sleep and crashing. And then when he woke up, I had to just go back to taking care of him. So again, naps were not work time anymore. And if I managed to stay up even just a little bit, I typically didn't have the energy to do any actual work. So you could find me reading a book or honestly scrolling TikTok. And then the one other time that I would typically catch up on work is after Zion went to bed and I'd hung out with my husband for a little bit. He likes to go to bed earlier than me sometimes, so if I had work that I needed to get done, sometimes I used to stay up late. I bet you can guess what I'm about to say. That was no longer happening either. So I was just early to bed, sleeping as much as possible. I mean, I feel a little bit better about needing 10 hours a night sleep plus naps when I watch my old pregnancy announcement video with Zion, and apparently I was sleeping 12 hours a night. Yeah, you can't do that with a toddler, but I'm very, very, very thankful that my husband's been making sure that I get enough sleep, because wow. The good news though is that that second trimester energy is slowly trickling back in, and I'm starting to feel a little bit more like myself again. I just feel like it took a long time. And I think because of that, I'm working through what I've been jokingly calling the motherhood work-life balance crisis. I don't know, I need a better name for it, but it's not really a crisis so much as a crossroads. And it's not really just a motherhood thing either. I've had this before having kids. It's when, the best description I can think of is when you have to reevaluate what you're capable of doing versus what you want to do. Or maybe a better way of saying it is what I still have time for and what has to go, if that makes sense. And I feel like a lot of us go through this type of reevaluation season throughout our lives, sometimes by choice, but sometimes it's forced on us. So when it comes to pregnancy, it's obviously all right, this has to happen. You don't have a choice. And so I did go through this with my first pregnancy with Zion. I had a lot of things that I'm just gonna cut this. I'm done with that, done with this. Let's get really, really focused and only do the things that align with my business. And after he was born, I had to do these little re-evaluations. I feel like every single month or even every single week sometimes, because things change so frequently, especially in their first year of life. It's just once you finally get things figured out, it's oop, it's changed now. Oop. You would think that this time around, I know what to expect. I know that things have to get cut, but I think it still threw me through a loop because I just wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do anything anymore. Again, I was a little bit dramatic here, but I was really starting to wonder, am I going to feel this way the whole 9 months? And then once you have a baby, will I even be able to come back to work? So I was asking myself very scary questions like, do I need to give up YouTube? Do I need to give up writing for a few years? what am I gonna do? It was a hard time because I love those creative aspects of my work and I don't want to cut them. If I could cut anything out, it would be email or like admin type stuff. You know, like I am always thankful that I do newsletters, but they're not really in my wheelhouse of strengths, you know, little things like that. So anyway, I specifically wanted to include this talk in the video in case anyone else is struggling with this reevaluation period as well, in case you're struggling with the feeling that something has to go, but you're not sure what and you're not sure how. So I had a revelation, and it was that instead of cutting something, you know, tangible, what if I cut something that's a little bit more intangible, like consistency and speed? So let me explain. First of all, consistency. For me, this means, and I wrote this down so that I could be very clear, if I can't manage a perfect schedule, I'm going to let it go. It gets done when it gets done. If I can't do YouTube every single week, no big deal, I'll do it every other week. If I am going strong for 4 months, but then I need to stop for 4 months, so be it. That's fine. I'm taking that pressure off to do the whole every single week, it must come out. That honestly doesn't really flow with creativity anyway. And you might have noticed if you watch other YouTubers that it's very common for YouTubers to get burnt out by that kind of schedule. And something really cool that I saw recently, a YouTuber I was watching recently outside of the Authortube space was talking about episodes and seasons. And I really, really love this concept. They were like, why isn't YouTube more like TV where there, or Netflix, you know, where you have a set number of episodes in this like season that goes together and then there's a break, and that should be normalized. And I love that because that just feels a lot more in line with my excitement level about YouTube, because whenever I take a break, I always come back with so many ideas, so excited and refreshed and ready to create some more. So I love this idea of seasons. Like for the next 4 months, we're gonna do a set of videos that kind of go together, and then I'll take a break, which I'm going to have to go have a baby, you know. But essentially, it's going to be a season of flexibility is another word for it. Then when it comes to speed, I wrote this down as well. It's going to be just plain slower. Simple to say, but not necessarily easy to do. At least not for somebody like me who feels this constant feeling of being behind. Let me know if you relate to that. I don't have time to talk about that in this video, but I do want to say as a side note that I don't think feeling behind is actually based on our speed at all, so much as based on comparison to other people, because I'll feel behind and somebody else will tell me how fast I'm going, and it doesn't make sense. So I think that's something that I need to deal with anyway, and this is going to force me to do that. So if you want a video on that whole feeling behind stuff and we can just kind of process that together, let me know. But anyway, my point that I wrote down here is it's just gonna be slower, and I'm going to learn to accept that and be okay and even happy about that, because that's what's beneficial to me in this season of life. To give you an example of what this might look like, I'm going to use the butter book, because I cannot tell you how frustrating it has been to have plotted this butter book with you guys back in October 2023, which is literally like 9 months ago. And I know that you want it. I know you want to read it. I'm excited for you to read it. And yet I don't know when I'm going to get it into your hands. And old me, when I was first publishing, would have said, I got you, it'll be out in a year tops. And then first time mom me would have been like, don't worry, it'll be about 1.5 years. But now, the second time mom me, that sounded weird, is going to be figuring out my timelines and my new speed all over again. And it took me a while to get to this feeling, but I am learning to be okay with that. I don't know if I want to say excited, because I don't love the idea of not getting the book into your hands, but I'm excited that I'm learning to take care of myself better and go at the speed that I need, if that makes sense. But there are still a few instances where I am going to be completely cutting things out as well, just to again kind of clear my plate and only do the things that I truly have time for. So that's my second big announcement in this video, and that's that I am, for the next few years at least, not going to write the nonfiction self-publishing book that I've been kind of hinting at for years now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, back in 2020, I made a self-publishing course with Writing Mastery Academy, and we had talked about how I was going to use the script and turn it into a book. Well, then 2021 happened, 2022, 2023, and here we are in 2024, and all I have was that original first few drafts. and I just don't have time to write it. So I'm letting it go. Maybe not forever, but at least for a few years, because what I realized is that if I devote time to this, I have to let go of a passion project like YouTube or writing my fiction books. And I know that YouTube would love this book, that you guys are like the perfect audience, that this would be a great way to make money, but honestly, I don't want to be motivated by doing a project just for the sake of money. That's not why I got into self-publishing. I want to write books that I'm really excited about. And I think part of why I'm not excited about this is because the course is already out there. I did all this intense work and put so many hours into it, and I feel like it's already accessible to you in this course format on Udemy. So for those who are hoping for a book, or you just didn't know this course even existed, I will link that Udemy course below, because it's honestly goes on sale all the time. It's usually $10 or $15, which is literally the same price as the book would be. Equally great resource. And it just really makes me feel better about not being able to write nonfiction in this season of life. And now my third future shift slash change. I don't even know what to call this. The next and final big announcement that was affected by this pregnancy, I'm actually making a timeline adjustment to the Omnibus release. And after all my big talk of slowing down, this one might sound weird at first, but I promise it aligns with everything that I've been saying. Currently, this beautiful book right here, The Queen's Rise, which is an omnibus of 3 YA fantasy novels put together with 2 bonus scenes and tons of other goodies, is set to release on December 3rd, 2024. The thing is, that's also the month that I am due to give birth. There is no way that I am going to be doing a stressful book release the same month that my baby is born, and possibly even before my baby is born. Who knows what the timing is going to be like. So what I was thinking is that to fit in line with my vision for slowing down and going at the speed that I need to, I actually want to have at least 2 months before the birth that are just completely deadline free, very, very slow as they need to be if I just don't have any energy at all. And before you're like, oh, so you're gonna push it out to 2025. The thing is, this book is completely done. I have done all the work. It's online, ready to go. So I'm just going to bump it up 2 months to October instead. And the fun coincidence is that I actually started brainstorming this beautiful omnibus and reaching out to the character artist and all that all the way back in October 2021. So it'll be almost exactly 3 years from when I first got the idea to do the omnibus until it comes out. So what does all this mean going forward? Let's talk about the Queen's Rise release, the Butter Book, and this YouTube channel really quick. When it comes to the Queen's Rise, I honestly don't know how much I'm gonna be able to even do. So I want to approach this release very differently by asking for help, first of all, and also by hiring more help than I typically would. That's gonna look like, number one, my Facebook Street Team group, which I'm officially inviting you to, and I will link it below as well. I'm opening it to the public as of this month. And a street team is essentially a group of people who are excited about the book and want to help me promote it. And in return, I do things like giveaways and share early access to things behind the scenes, you name it. And so it's not going to be a super active group. We're very, very, very chill there. So far, I've just done like 1 giveaway a month. And I think the main thing that I will really, really, really appreciate from my street team, even if you don't want to join the Facebook group, but you do want to help, is if you get the book, to review the book, whether on Goodreads or Amazon or other vendors, you name it. Social media, reviews are huge. So thank you to the people who have already left reviews. I really, really appreciate you. The second huge way you could help is to add The Queen's Rise to your Goodreads TBR if you have a Goodreads page, because this again is surprisingly helpful promotion that you can do completely for free. But on top of that, I think there's still 2 weeks left of a Goodreads giveaway going on. So make sure you check that out as well. I'll link that below too. And that's gonna be for a few people to get these fancy foil cover editions, which is very exciting. I also hope to try NetGalley again and maybe some Instagram tours, hopefully. And so that again is like hiring other people so that if I for some reason am just totally incapacitated and I'm like, I have nothing left in me to give, then I still have some promotion leading up to the release happening. But honestly, I'm not even worried about it because I literally have the best readers ever. And proof of that is how these last 3 months, I've been completely MIA, but you guys have still been sharing about the book. And seriously, I have felt so loved. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just wish I could like hug you and say thank you because it really meant a lot to me. Anyway, the pre-order is linked below, and the new release date for this omnibus is October 1st, 2024. For the Butter book, by the time this video comes out, I hope to have started finally writing this book, and I promise I will be vlogging that experience as well. It will probably be a lot slower. I'm just being super realistic, trying to reset my expectations and yours that there's no way I'm gonna write a book in a month anymore. It's just not a thing. But we'll see how long it takes, and I will try to vlog that experience. And my goal is just finish the first draft before baby, which I think is doable. You would hope it's doable. So obviously I have no idea when it'll be published because I don't even know how long the first draft is gonna take. But what I will say is that I have already set up a pre-launch page on Kickstarter. And I'm very, very excited about this because it's like the perfect way to get everybody who's interested and just have you click this little notify button. And then whether it takes a few more months or years, I don't know. But whenever it is finally done, that's how I can notify everybody and use that as a way to be like, here you go, the book is ready. So I really, really am excited about that. There's so many links. I will link the Kickstarter, what's it called? Pre-launch page below as well. Last but not least, YouTube, which I bet a lot of you are wondering about. What is that gonna look like? I know for sure that I want to do writing vlogs, like I said. So that's kind of going to be my next season. If we're doing the, you know, the episodes and seasons like TV, is going to be a season of like writing vlogs and writing the Butter book. And I don't know what that's gonna look like. We'll find out together. And then after that, we will see what happens. But obviously I will for sure be taking a break when I have the baby. So that could start in October or November, or maybe even December if I'm going strong. And then it'll probably be at least 3 months until I feel up to working. I honestly don't know. I really, really don't know what to expect. I'll try to like, I don't know. I can't even make any promises because I truly don't know. I might need like a long chunk of time, like 6 months, because I remember when Zion was born, his sleep schedule was just all over the map those first 6 months, and then things kind of settled into more of a schedule and life started to feel doable again. So it might be a long break compared to most of my breaks. Anyway, this video is longer than I wanted it to be, but I just hope that it encouraged somebody else who's going through like a season of change like me. If you're reevaluating things, trying to figure out what to cut, what to keep, definitely don't be afraid to cut things. It's really, really hard, but also don't be afraid to hold on to things that you know are right for you. Know that if they're not happening in this particular season, it doesn't mean that they will never happen. Like for example, maybe I will stop writing for like a year and then maybe I'll come right back to it. And that's totally okay. A year is really not that long in the grand scheme of things. And again, I just hope that it was obvious throughout this video how excited I am for this baby, and I am here for this new stage of life, even if it is throwing me through a loop and giving me some unexpected changes. I don't care. I'm going to embrace it and practice my flexibility. This was a very chaotic video, but let me know if you suspected if my absence, very, very sudden absence for months, gave you a little bit of an indication that this was coming. And I did promise you that gender reveal. So without further ado, put your guesses below, boy or girl. Let me know what you think, and we're about to find out.
And here's our balloon. Ready? We're gonna pop it. You remind me, what does it mean if it's blue?
It's black.
No, blue is for brother.
It's black.
And what does pink mean?
It's black.
It is black, but it's gonna pop a color. It's gonna turn into a color.
I don't want pink anymore.
He doesn't want pink.
You don't want pink or blue?
Blue.
Okay, do you
You
want
want
to pop it with
blue?
this? I'll help you. Ready? Hold on to it. We're gonna pop it. 1, 2, 3. What color do you want, brother or sister? Sister. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! That was fun. Are you okay?
It's stickers.
What color is it?
It's pink.
Sister.
Sister.
It's a sister.
Another one.
Another one.